Hi everyone, this one is for the 4th graders. You need to be on lesson 2, which can be found on page 14. It will look like this for poetry. I'll give you a couple seconds to get there. Alright, so poetry is a special type of writing that uses words to create a strong feeling, image, or message through meaning, sound, and rhythm. Exciting stuff, guys. So we're going to look at structure first. Structure, it says, is usually made up of lines, which are rows of text. So the lines that literally just go in a line. Right? And if we're going to bring math into this, they're in parallel lines, right? Because the lines aren't going to touch each other. They're going to go straight across. And then we have the lines that go into stanzas. Now, stanzas are groups of lines. Think about this. Stanzas are like paragraphs in writing. So, here's an example of stanzas right here. We have stanza 1, stanza 2. But that means that there's 4 lines in here. Ready? Line 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we know this is a stanza and this is a stanza because there is a space in between. Where paragraphs would have an indent, but because we're doing poetry, we have to skip a line, and that's how we know. Moving on. We now have sounds of poetry. You have rhythm, which is the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables in a line. And then we have rhyme, which describes words with the same ending sound. Awesome stuff, guys. So that means you're going to be looking at the end of the line, and the end of the line words will usually rhyme when you have rhyme in your poem. And then we have repetition, and it says that repetition is the repeating of words of lines in poetry. It shows important ideas in a poem or to reveal the meaning or theme. So those can be key hints when you're trying to figure out what the meaning of a poem is. Alright, we're going to go down to figurative language. You have literal language and you have figurative language. Literal language means what I say is what I mean. That's it. Go sit down. Just means go sit down. Go find your seat. But if I say, I am so hungry I could eat a cow, that's figurative language because I'm not actually going to go eat a cow, nor do I think I could eat the actual whole cow. So that means that I'm just telling you how hungry I am, but I don't actually mean that I could go eat a whole cow. And then we have, you guys ready? This is so fun. We have simile. Now similes compare things, right? And we know it's a simile because you gotta get your detective hats on. You have to look for like or as. When you see like or as in a sentence comparing something, it's a simile. Now, you have a metaphor. A metaphor is also comparison, but it does not use like or as. So if you have like or as, simile. If it compares something it doesn't have like or as, it's a metaphor. Alright, then you have allusion. Now, that refers to a person, place, event, or a work of literature such as a myth. So, you have to kind of know backstories to then know what they are talking about. So in your example, it says, people have said that the millionaire had the Midas touch because every business she started made money. Now, if you don't know the story behind Midas, you won't get that. But I'll tell you, Midas wanted to turn everything to gold, so then he got the power to turn everything to gold. And so that is how Midas comes into this sentence, because the millionaire, everything that she touches makes money, right? All the businesses that she started makes money. Midas, everything he touched turned to gold. A lot of the illusions will come in through mythology. So if you want to know the illusions, you can study mythology and you can find out all about the Greek gods and goddesses and Roman Greek gods and Roman gods and goddesses too. Then you have personifications. That's giving human qualities to non-human things. So your example here is the wind whistled through the trees. Wind actually can't whistle because whistling is a human characteristic. Then you have point of view. So you have first person point of view, which is going to be your key things that you're going to be looking for when you have your detective hat on, is mine, me, I, right? And then if you're looking for third person of view, you're going to be looking for words that contain her, him, they. Just some examples for that. And then theme is the message the poet wants to share with the readers. Same thing as a book. Why was this book written? What's the point? What do you want to get out of it? What does the author want to share with you? What does the poet want to share with you? And then we have kinds of poems. All right, guys. And they have a nice little chart for you on page 17. Right here. We're going to go through those real quick. So you have a lyric poem, which is a short poem that is like a song and usually deals with the speaker's thoughts or feelings. And you have epic, a long poem that tells about the adventures of a hero or a historical event, such as the great military victory. Narrative poem, a poem that tells a story. Then you have a limerick, a humorous 5-line poem that rhymes. Then you have free verse, a poem that does not follow any fixed rules of rhythm, rhyme, or structure. Then you have haiku, which is a very short poem with 3 lines and just 17 syllables. Does not rhyme and is usually about nature. And then you have an ode, a poem that includes 2 or more stanzas with similar structure. Each line must rhyme with another line in the same stanza, usually a serious poem about a meaningful topic. And then your language spotlight, Greek and Latin roots, which is right here, guys. And again, with your spelling words, some of you have been working on this, so you'll have your prefix or your suffix that is added to the root word, right? And so it's kind of pulling those apart and looking at the roots, right? This one is just dealing with roots, so we're going to look at them. Your first one we're going to look at, it says autograph, and then it says auto means self. So whenever you see auto in front of something, you know auto means self. And then you have graph, which means to write, right? Graph, write. When you put it together, it means autograph. So that means you're self-writing, right? You're writing your signature. It is your signature. It's your autograph. Now think about this. If we do auto-correct, auto means self, and then correct. So you're correcting your spelling. So if you look into your spelling on your when you're typing it up on your computer, or if you're typing it up on like a phone or something, and you have autocorrect, because you're correcting yourself. You're correcting your spelling. It has other examples for you. You can come up with other ones that you think be super fun. And then you have poems that you guys will get to read and answer questions to. But I have brought over a poem from the book Life Doesn't Frighten Me, and it's by Maya Angelou. And here's a picture of Maya Angelou right here. And we're going to, I took a part of her poem and we're just going to pretend it is one poem so we can just get the gist of this and use some of our knowledge that we just learned. So, in this poem it says, "Don't show me frogs and snakes and listen to my scream. If I'm afraid at all, it's only in my dreams." Now, if we look through what we have learned, we know there are 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Now, because this isn't a book and they made it more creative, we don't have them all going here, which is where they should be, but this would all be one stanza because it's in one grouping. There's no big space, right? The next stanza would be down here if it was a big space, right? One stanza. And then we have rhyme in here. And what kind of poem do you think it is? Do you think it's a lyrical poem, an epic poem, a narrative poem, a limerick, a free verse, a haiku, or an ode? I'll read it one more time and think about that. Look at your graph. Don't show me frogs and snakes and listen to my scream. If I'm afraid at all, it's only in my dreams. Alright, so take a couple seconds and think about what poem do you think it is. Alright, it is a narrative poem because the poem tells a story. Alright, have fun. If you have any questions, message me and I will answer them for you guys. Have a wonderful day.